So Lincoln Riley runs from the SEC. I guess they meant he runs over the SEC. USC wins the opener in Allegiant Stadium. We'll talk about that and much more here on the Student Body Right USC podcast.
Welcome to the Put on Waivers Media Group, home of the Put on Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
Everybody right, USC podcast, Dwayne Douglas here. It's a joyous day out here in Southern California because of what the boys did last night. USC, tremendous performance, tremendous team performance. I don't think there's almost every single player who took the field last night had a integral part in this team in their 27-20 victory over LSU. Yes, USC held a team that was in the top 13 to 20 points in this game, and it was just a magnificent performance in a lot of ways. They have obviously some things to work on. There were some iffy moments in this game, but you got to give them a lot of credit for what they did here, because this is a game where so many times you would have seen USC lose. I want to start with the head coach. There are so many narratives about Lincoln Riley, and he's this, he's that. He's a guy who needs to get fired. Reported to Paul Feinbaum, who nobody can find right now because he's on a milk carton. Nobody can find Paul Feinbaum anywhere right now, which is hilarious to me. He's a fraud. He's all these different things, but in this off season, and I think maybe because he lost a friend in coaching, he just wanted to give Alex Grinch one more season. He probably gave him one more season too many. I mean, obviously, if the Trojans had a defensive coordinator with like Dayton Lynn with Caleb Williams here, they probably make the college football playoff. They probably make it pretty easily, even last year. But the team was tough. The team played spirited football. The team played together. And when they got down in a game, they didn't fall apart. And I think those are some of the narratives that people were kind of drumming up about USC. People were drumming up about Lincoln Riley, and those narratives are going to start to fall away if they continue to keep playing the way they played against LSU last night. Excuse me, my voice is like almost gone. So the defensive part of it, Lincoln Riley doesn't care about defense. Lincoln Riley does care about defense. He went out there and got, a guy who was young, who is dynamic, who runs the system that all these NFL teams and all these college football teams want. They want a guy who's running that Raven system. And they did a great job last night. The guys up front, I know they did not get any pass rush last night, very without blitzing. So that's something you can look forward in the future. But they also were going up against the best offensive line in college football. I mean, if they can stand, and this is the biggest test. If they could stand toe to toe with that offensive line, you can't tell me about. I don't want to hear about Wisconsin. I don't want to hear about the boys that got in Minnesota. I don't hear about Michigan. They can stand their ground with any team in the country, and that's the narrative. Like they could USC offensive and defensive lines hold their own against the big boys of college football. The teams with the physical, who are going to be completely physical. They're going to be out physical. They're going to get pushed around. They did not get pushed around. They did not good. They did not hold their ground in this game. And I think that's a lot to do with the dog work of Eric Henderson. The linebacking play was really good. You can see Eric Gentry may not have started, but he has an impact on the game. And you can see Matt Ence's influence. The secondary was, for the most part, was in the right spot at the right time. They had one blown coverage in this whole game, and I thought if Achille Arnold just pushed the receiver out of bounds instead of trying to make a play on the ball, That was off that 19-yard touchdown, but that's what it is, whatever. But if LSU almost won this game because of their offensive line and Emery, the running back, their backup running back who has a little bit more juice than their starting running backs. He almost won the game for him, but how many times did you see him in this ball game just be just on the cups of making a huge 20-yard, 30-yard run, and a USC defender grabbed him by the ankles and tackled him. I mean, their way they tackled in this game was really good. Now, there's probably some missed tackles in this game, but as soon as that missed tackle was there, the gang tackle was there. Like the whole gang, it was the ball carrier versus the 10 other Trojans, and they made all the plays they had to make as far as that goes. Very impressed with the way they trusted the game plan of Danton Lynn. It was just a beautiful thing to see. On offense, Kyron Hudson was up and down, up and down. They trusted him. I mean, I was pulling my hair out a little bit because that drop touchdown as a play I've seen him make 20 million times. So that was a big play in the game. But when they needed it, he made those plays. And I think for USC fans and USC people, we always have that. We always know that, like, hey, who is going to be the Taj Washington of this season? Who's going to be that guy who's just a veteran guy who makes the big play when you really need it? And it looks like it's going to be Kyron Hudson, because those one-handed catches were huge. Him having the ability to on that honey hole shot to beat cover two, to hold on to the football, because the biggest key yes, he got targeted, but for him to hold on to the football and make a play there is huge. I mean, that really was a huge play in the ball game. So shout out to him. And Jacoby Lane made a great over the shoulder, NFL type catch on that free play in the ball game. So that was huge. They got a short field in this ball game because of a penalty on the kickoff, and then Zachariah Brandt almost took it back for a touchdown. Leave it to LSU to have one of the biggest and most athletic place kickers or kickoff specials I've ever seen. That dude looked like he was like 6'5". Leave it to LSU, but LSU was a good opponent. You can't take away anything from what USC did in this ball game, and it was just a beautiful game for them to, because the imperfectness of the game made it even more enjoyable to watch them play in, because it wasn't perfect for Lincoln Riley, wasn't perfect for Danton Lynn, but they found a way to win. They found a way to put everything together. They missed a 29-yard field goal. They fumbled the ball a couple of times, where the offensive line should get a lot of credit for what they did in this ball game, and also what they did for recovering these fumbles. And they had a PBU breakup on a ball that could have been intercepted very, very easily. So a lot of heroes in this ball game, but I give the team credit for just sticking together during that third quarter where it was 17-13 LSU, and you just thought that they were just one play away from going down 2 scores. And they held it together. They never went down 2 scores in this ball game. They led pretty much throughout, besides that one moment, but they were able to hold it together and did not allow LSU to take off and go ahead and win that ball game. And Miller Moss, they don't got Caleb. He doesn't have a dynamic passer. He doesn't have this. He doesn't have that. Well, I saw for myself on the field versus LSU. I mean, versus Louisville, that the kid can play. The kid can play, and where you might lose some of the athleticness, the ability to get outside and make plays, running the football, like Lincoln Riley had with Kyler Murray, like he had with Caleb Williams. He loses some of that, obviously, with Miller Moss, but you do get a guy who can sit in the pocket, take shot after shot after shot, and just deliver, strikes all over the field. I think the only pass that he that he really was he kind of short armed and didn't get out there was the little swing pass to Jay Fair where Jay Fair would have walked into the end zone. Obviously, it was a penalty on that play. Jacoby Lane has to just continue on the pick play. It's all a pick. Everybody runs a pick play. You guys just keep running. He'll learn. He has to keep running his pattern and not actually, just pound the cornerback in that situation. But great job. I mean, great job. I mean, the college should be. I know it's Utah State, and for some reason this game is 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. But thank you, Big Ten Network. But just a great game. A great game by them overall. A great game by SC. And the whole everybody contributed to a great victory. I thought. I mean, even on the kickoff, I think even the kickoff coverage. I mean, I think that first kickoff of the game, like he almost took it to the house. Like he was one step from taking that to the house, and SC did a great job of tackling him by the ankles to get him down. So we'll talk about all the things that they need to improve on. We'll talk about all the things that they can do better to be able to beat Michigan, to be able to beat some of these really top teams. But today is just for victories. Today is a great victory Monday for this team. They can go, relax, have a great time, and then come back to work on Monday or Tuesday, whatever Coach Riley has them being able to do, and just become, try to build that momentum and keep it going. Because I now that they won this game, you have to like the way the schedule sets up for them. They play Utah on Saturday. After they play Utah on Saturday, then they have a bye week before they go to the Big House. That bye week to prepare for Michigan is going to be really, really fun. And watching that chess game between Wink Martindale and Lincoln Riley. Wink Martindale is another guy who is very similar to the LSU defensive coordinator who likes to bring blitzes from all over the place. We'll get you some of that all 22 to look at. But we got a huge week for you this week. We got the offensive breakdown, defensive breakdown. This year. I really do believe in special teams, so we'll do a special teams breakdown as well. And then Coach B will be by. We'll see if we get some other USC guests on the show. But the instant reaction to this game was just that a game where you thought USC was going to get pushed around. They didn't. They held their own, and they were able to come in and win this ball game. And I thought it was a beautiful. I thought that they just held it together. They did it. They held it together. I had the only one critique of this entire game, for me with Dayton Lynn was that over route where they rushed 3 on a critical third down and instead of blitzing. I thought they sent some pressure. They might have been able to get Nussmeier to get rid of the ball. I thought Nussmeier was pretty good. He didn't, like I said, they didn't give up the big play. Like they just did not give up the big play. When you don't give up the big play, keep things in front of you. Blitz when you have an opportunity to do so. I think you might even see more blitzing, but I think there was a fair amount of respect in the future. I think in this game there was a fair amount of respect for Nussmeier and his ability to throw the ball down the field. And if you miss those blitzes, that he was gonna go and do his thing as far as that goes. So SC wins 27-20. A kind of a grinded out, really tough, hard-nosed victory where every piece of this team had something to say about how the outcome went. And you got to give them a lot of credit for this game. And I don't want to hear about this is not a vintage LSU team. Oh, you beat Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly also beat Nick Saban. So we'll keep it like that in a game as well too. So, but it's a talented team. You'll see when the NFL draft comes that this team will have a lot of drafted players on it. So take that for what it's worth. You're playing one of the most talented teams in the country. And maybe as the season goes on, you'll see LSU get better and better and better, and that will only help the resume of the men of Troy. So instant analysis, instant breakdown, however you want to talk it. It's instant reaction to USC's victory is a great one. They did a fantastic job in this ball game. We're just, just Twitter is on fire. Shout out to for Arrogant Nation, Rusty, who was just lighting people up, lighting LSU up on on Twitter right now. I'm sure he has all the receipts. Nobody has more receipts than Rusty. But great, just a great overall victory for Lincoln Riley, for Danton Lynn, and this whole USC football team. All right, folks, and as always, fight on.